Well, with that lead in, I'm going to ask another question about the coaching situation in Gainesville. Obviously, first of all, David, thank you for joining us. We do appreciate you taking
No
time
problem.
out of your day. Going back to the Mullen situation, obviously we see what happened this year with going 5-6 and how this was a drastic ending after I would say 3 solid seasons. Was this just a removal based on this season, or does this something that we can also go back maybe towards the end of 2020 where there were sort of rumblings that Mullen was on the hot seat?
I think as far as on-field play goes, I think you can go back to 2020 and the LSU game and the shoe toss and how Florida lost that game a week before the SEC championship game. You had a college football playoff spot on the line there the week before you go play Alabama. Now, granted, you probably go lose to Alabama anyway, but you still put yourself in that position. And you go lose to LSU. I don't care if Florida would have beat Alabama in Atlanta last year. I still don't think they make the playoffs because you had that inexcusable loss versus LSU. So I think it starts right there. Then you had the Oklahoma Bowl game, and pretty much, that wasn't our team. Our season was already over. That was the message Dan Mullen sent out there. And then, the 2021 season does play out that way, and he hitched his wagon to Todd Grantham. Almost everybody, Gator Nation, a lot of analysts out there, did not see a reason to bring back Todd Grantham for this season. And Mullen hits his wagon to him, and you saw the way it played out. And it played out exactly like most people predicted that it would play out, that the defense would not take enough steps for this team to turn around. And now you see the consequences of it. And we saw in South Carolina a couple weeks ago, that was the final straw. Scott Strickland and Dan Mullen had a come to Jesus moment in the tunnel there. The firings were made the very next day, but it wasn't enough ultimately to save Dan Mullen's job. But ultimately what it comes down to for me, the day Dan Mullen was hired, I thought he was the right hire for Florida. But I always had that question, could he recruit at the level needed to beat consistently or compete consistently with Georgia and Alabama in the SEC, LSU, Texas A&M, Auburn, all those programs that can recruit at that level? Could he do it consistently? And I think he dug himself a hole with recruiting. And I don't think the way recruiting was looking that he was going to be able to dig himself out. I think Scott Strickland saw that as well. And I just think the trend, the trend of the direction, mostly because of recruiting, was not very positive in the light of turning this thing around.
There's a lot of people out there who probably think Florida takes a step back. Maybe Florida State has a better shot going up against the interim coach this time. In this game, obviously, there's been a lot of interim coaches in this battle back and forth over the last 3 or 4 seasons between Florida State and Florida. What is Greg Knox going to tell that team coming in as that interim coach? What do you think is going to be his message to those guys, especially with the way Florida has gone down of late and Florida State is kind of taking more of an upswing of late? What do you think Greg Knox's message will be to that team?
You go play for your seniors, go play for your teammates, go play for this staff one more time. That it's going to be the last time you play with this staff. And a lot of us is going to be go play for yourself a little bit too. I mean, Florida's been inconsistent this year, whether it be an offense have a bad game or then the defense has a bad game. Florida's never really been consistent this year, mostly because of the defense. But last week, we saw that, and defense finally showed up. The offense didn't show up. But, go out there and play for the seniors. Go out there and play for your teammates. That's their last game this season. But also, mainly, it's a rivalry game. You want to, a lot of these kids. You play with these kids. It doesn't matter who the head coach is. It's about the other 11 that's on the field, and that's in garnet and gold. You play with those guys in elementary school, middle school, high school. These guys. You're friends with these guys. Or maybe you don't like these guys. You want to go beat them. And that just has to be the message. And Greg Knox said that yesterday. The message this week still is rivalry. And look, we missed this game last year. Florida State didn't get to play last year because of the pandemic and COVID. So a lot of these guys will be having their first action in this game who didn't get to play in the game before. And that's another part of this I think you can throw out there is a lot of these guys, no matter the coach, this is their first chance of playing in this big rivalry game.